My name is Daniel, and I turned 26 a few weeks ago. I wish I could say that day was marked by laughter, warmth, and a table crowded with food, cake, and gifts. I wish I could tell you that my family gathered around me with love and joy. But the reality was far from it. My birthday was the loneliest night of my life. My parents told me they were too tired to celebrate. There was no cake, no dinner, no thoughtful card. Instead, they ordered takeout for themselves, disappeared into their bedroom, and shut the door before the clock even touched 9. I sat in the dim glow of the television, a container of cold rice in my hands, listening to the sound of their door closing like the final note in a song I never wanted to hear. At first, I tried to tell myself it didn't matter, that maybe they'd make it up to me the next day, or that they really did need rest. But then my phone buzzed, and everything shifted. On the screen were videos my cousin had posted. A huge dinner out, balloons tied to chairs, champagne glasses raised in toasts. A birthday cake covered in candles, sparklers burning bright. And in the middle of it all, my parents, my brother, and every relative I had grown up with. They were all smiling, laughing, celebrating like it was the happiest night of their lives. Everyone was there, except me. I froze. My thumb hovered over the replay button, but I couldn't bring myself to press it again. The phone slipped out of my hand, landing on the couch as my chest sank. This wasn't the first time they had made me feel like an afterthought. Growing up, my brother had always been the chosen one, the golden child. He got the newest clothes, the private tutoring, the car at 18. At my graduation, they congratulated him for being such a supportive brother. When I landed my first job, they laughed about how he had been the real motivator. Their favoritism wasn't loud, it was subtle, quiet, but cutting all the same. I had grown used to swallowing those small wounds. But that night broke something in me. Watching them clap, cheer, and raise glasses while I sat alone at home, it felt like the world I had been desperately holding together finally collapsed. I didn't text, didn't call, didn't even acknowledge what I had seen. I just let the silence wrap itself around me. The following morning, that silence shattered with a text from my mom. Not a birthday wish. Not an apology. Not even a mention of the night before. Just a cold demand, "We need $2,850 for the mortgage." I stared at that message for what felt like forever. My chest tightened as memory after memory came rushing back. The electric bill I had covered when Dad forgot to pay, the money I had lent for car repairs that was never returned, the double shifts I had worked just so they wouldn't lose the house, while my brother spent freely on vacations and gadgets. Every time I had told myself I was helping because I cared about my family. But in that moment, it became painfully clear. I wasn't family to them. I was a safety net. My hands trembled as I typed my reply, reading it over 3 times before pressing send. Ask the ones you celebrate. Then I turned off my phone and left it face down on the table. The next morning, I woke up to 61 missed calls and a flood of messages. A single text from my dad froze me. "Don't do this." For the first time in my life, the power had shifted. I had spent years chasing their approval, bending myself in half for scraps of affection. But now, they were the ones chasing, scrambling, begging for me to answer. And I didn't. That was only the beginning. The calls kept pouring in, my phone lighting up like it was under siege. Out of morbid curiosity, I finally listened to one of my mom's voicemails. Her voice was shaky but strangely rehearsed. "Daniel, honey, last night wasn't a big deal. You know we love you. But we really need you to send the money right away. The bank is going to start calling if you don't. Last night wasn't a big deal." That was how she described being excluded from my own birthday while they threw a celebration without me. My jaw clenched. For once, I didn't twist her words into excuses. Later that day, another notification came through, this time from my cousin's group chat. More pictures from the night before. My brother holding the cake, balloons spelling out congrats, people singing around him. My stomach dropped when I read the captions. It hadn't even been a birthday party. It was a celebration of my brother's promotion, a job he had landed because Dad had pulled strings. They had chosen my night to throw his party. When I didn't respond, My dad sent a long text about how family is about sacrifice and how I was being immature for holding grudges over a dinner. My chest burned as I read. It wasn't about dinner. It was about years of invisibility. But the way he framed it, I was the selfish one. By day 3, my brother finally called. The moment I answered, he scoffed. "You're seriously overreacting. They didn't mean anything by it. Besides, my promotion is huge for this family. Don't make everything about you." The irony nearly made me laugh. My whole life had been about him. His sports tournaments, his grades, his milestones. And even on my birthday, he managed to steal the spotlight. "I'm not sending the money," I said flatly. A pause. Then a sharp laugh. "You're kidding, right? They can't cover it without you. Don't be stupid, Daniel. Just do it. That's what you're there for." Those words pierced me deeper than I expected. That's what you're there for. Not a brother. Not a son. Just a provider. Soon after, my aunt joined the chorus. "Daniel, your parents are older. You need to step up. Stop being difficult. Think of your brother. He has a future to protect." I sat in silence, scrolling through the thread of messages, realizing the truth. They didn't see me as a person. I wasn't someone to celebrate. I was a resource. A lifeline. Their backup plan. That realization hardened into something unshakable. And in that moment, I decided, I wasn't going to play their game anymore. The breaking point came a week later when I found an envelope stuffed in my mailbox. Inside wasn't a letter, but a withdrawal slip. $2,850. From my account. My stomach dropped. I checked my banking app. The money was gone. They had keys to my apartment for emergencies. Suddenly, the times I'd come home to drawers slightly open or mail stacked differently flashed in my mind. I had brushed it off then. But now I knew. They had stolen from me. That night, my mom finally called again. Cheerful, almost relieved. "Daniel, sweetheart, don't worry about the mortgage. We handled it. With my money," I said. She sighed, calm and patronizing. "It's all the same, Daniel. Family shares. You learn it back. We know what's best." That line split everything in two. They didn't see theft. They saw entitlement. My hard work, my sacrifices, my account, it was theirs. Because they had decided so. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I simply sealed their spare keys into an envelope. That night, I decided they would never walk freely into my life again. The weeks that followed were suffocating. My bills stacked up, groceries ran thin, and I felt myself teetering on the edge of collapse. Yet beneath the exhaustion, something stronger burned, resolve. I would not be their safety net anymore. Instead of shouting, I shifted my focus. I poured energy into my work, took on freelance projects, tightened every dollar I spent. Slowly, brick by brick, I rebuilt myself. And for the first time, my life began expanding instead of shrinking. Months passed. I rose at work, earning promotions, responsibility, and respect. My side business flourished. I was no longer surviving. I was building. Quietly, steadily, power was settling into my hands. Then fate handed me the blueprint of their downfall. Buried in old files they'd once asked me to store, I found loan documents and mortgage papers. My blood ran cold as I saw my name, my income, even my savings listed under their assets, without my consent. To the banks, I was their collateral. It was infuriating. But it was also leverage. So when the next desperate voicemail came, "Daniel, the bank is threatening foreclosure, please help us one more time," I did something they never saw coming. I walked into that very bank with their paperwork in hand and filed a dispute. That single act pulled the mask off years of lies. Their credit collapsed, their debts surfaced, and the house they worshipped as a family legacy slipped into foreclosure. Their empire, built on my back, crumbled. And I hadn't lifted a finger in anger. I had only stopped carrying them. They tried everything, calls, guilt, even pounding on my door. But I didn't answer. I slid their spare key under the crack instead. The key they had used to steal from me. The symbol of control they thought they had. Weeks later, I drove past their house one last time. The lawn overgrown, the windows shuttered, a realtor's sign fading in the rain. My phone buzzed with one final message from my mother: "We have nowhere to go." I locked the screen and set it down beside me. For the first time in my life, their problems weren't mine to solve. And as I drove away, I thought only one thing: let them ask the ones they celebrate.